Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We got a couple items on the agenda that we'd like to correct. First one, the meeting for the 20th. I'd like to request the meeting to the 16th to accommodate our presenters that day. So I'd be moving it from next week Tuesday to Friday the 16th.
That's,
It's 10 o'clock, so same time. Does anybody have a problem with that? Is that okay?
I don't, Mr. Chair, I don't see a problem right now. That's on the Friday, right?
Yes.
Oh, no, I don't see a problem right now. Trying to find my schedule.
Yeah, roads and bridges would be at 9 o'clock on that day.
That same day? Okay.
Okay, just so you know, so 9 o'clock is what roads and bridges.
Moved it up.
9 o'clock is our regular board. Then we have item 8D. I'm moving that item to
Item what?
8D, it's on page 2.
It's the correspondence.
Oh,
D1, I'm sorry.
okay. D1.
D1, yep.
That's on page.
It's on the second page at the top. It's got 8, and it's got A, B, C, D. It's D1.
D1, you moving it to.
A11. Okay. And I believe that's all the changes.
I would move the approval of the amended agenda, Mr. Chair.
Support.
Lane,
Yes?
Smith,
Yes.
Massey,
Yes.
Geringer,
Yes.
Elkins.
Yes. All right, we have in our packet January 23rd minutes.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Support.
Any comments, corrections? Roll call?
Smith,
Yes.
Massey,
Yes.
Geringer,
Yes.
Elkins.
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
All right, we have,
Mr. Chair,
yes, Mr. Bass.
may I make a comment?
What is it, sir?
The comment, you know, in the minutes, the last time that you and I looked at and the verbiage wasn't written properly, I assume that the secretary corrected that.
Donna corrected it. She just corrected the 2 words on it.
Yes, yes. I just made that assumption. I said, I better go back and clear that up. Because I trust Linda so much until I just make these assumptions about it. Yes, thank you.
Okay, so we have meeting hearing communications Monday, February 19th, 2024. Road commission is closed. The president's holiday, February 20th, we just moved that meeting to the 16th. And then roads and bridges at 9, regular meeting at 10. All right, now we have public comment. Is there anyone in the public that would like to address the board? We have 2 minutes for an agenda item, 2 minutes for a non-agenda item. We ask that you address the chair and speak to the council. You step to the podium. Either mic, I think, is on.
Okay. Hello, my name is Monica Shapiro from Grand Blanc Township. I just want to quickly reiterate the thing that I'm always talking about, which is multimodal transportation is an equity issue. The U.S. is an exceptionally dangerous place to be a pedestrian. Low-income people of color are far more likely to be killed by motor vehicles than white citizens of other income brackets. One surefire way of reversing this trend is to improve pedestrian and cycling infrastructure. Roads in the 21st century are not just for motorists, they are for pedestrians, cyclists, mass transit users, and people with disabilities. Access and equity are not just luxury add-ons for overwhelmed and underfunded townships to finance and maintain, particularly when residential communities are asked to host primary corridors that cut through multiple communities and see upwards of 17,000 daily users. I'm specifically coming today to ask that the upcoming widening of Grand Blanc Road be it doesn't go out for bid until April. I would like to see this board, the township board, take it back to the table, take it back to Row, and ask them to look into adding transportation for all users. There's 1,600 some low-income apartments there. It's 1 mile of road. The current plan calls for nothing. I have spoken before many boards many times about doing this. I took a petition to those people, to the people in those Heatherwood and Thornridge and the Grand apartments. I got 100 signatures on the Lions game Sunday. It was very easy. I'm gonna go back and back and back because those people, when I knocked on their doors, they said, well, I'm watching the game, but hell yeah, we need this, we want this. When they do the bridge, even if they add 3 feet of pavement, 3 lanes, there's 14 feet left. Put a barrier there, give them 5 feet so that people, I know MDOT has their rules, talk to MDOT, make it, look at it. How much would a sidewalk cost? How much would it cost to put, it's $120,000 extra dollars to add 2 feet of shoulder that would give them at least 5 feet plus a buffer. But maybe a sidewalk would be cheaper. Figure out how to take that road right of way, do that bridge, look at that job between now and April, see how much it would cost before it goes out to bid. I think Row is capable of doing it. They've told me the township has to ask for it. Township, I appeared before the township board several times in the 4 years since this has been on the books. I've talked to MDOT people who all agree that 1 mile of residential road, those renters and those apartments should be able to walk to that park. It's the only park in the township. These people are handicapped. These people are young families. There are people of color. It's quite a neighborhood, and the people were friendly and good and wanted to talk to me. And I'm running for supervisor, and I guarantee you that the next time we come and spend multi-million dollars, we spent $57 million on roads in Grand Bank Township without doing a thing about this. And this job, this upcoming job is $1.8 million, and there's every kind of permission out there if you want to get it. So if you want to talk to me about it after, please do. That's what I'm here to reiterate.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the audience that'd like to address the board? All right, going once, going twice. All right, we'll close the public comment section at this time. All right, we are over to correspondence.
Yes, Mr. Chairperson, there is no incoming, no outgoing, no internal. There is one informational advisement of posting of local restrictions for Hawkins Road Bridge and Nichols Road Bridge over the Massac Creek, Clayton Township. No board action required.
All right, thank you. All right, moving on, 9A1.
9A1 is, no. During the recent, sorry. On October 4th, 2022, the Genesee County Board of Road Commissioners approved a short-term disability benefit policy. Amendment was made to change the benefit payment of the employee's prevailing rate from 60% to 66 2/3. I'm sorry, this is the wrong board.
This is the one that was in the packet. This is the one I just got.
This is the one. Genesee County Road Commission offers an employee-funded short-term and long-term disability benefit to qualifying employees who are unable to work due to illness, injury, and disability unrelated to their employment. The benefit available under the policy is intended to provide qualifying employees with a source of income replacement during a period of short-term as well as long-term disability. It's a recommendation the Board of County Road Commissioners adopt the February 6, 2024 amended short-term and long-term disability benefit policy.
This one. All right, do we have a motion or support?
I'll make a motion
Support.
to approve.
Okay, thank you. All right, any questions or comments?
Yes,
Mr. Massey?
I have a question. First thing, I have a question. Where's this policy at? I haven't seen it.
It was sent to you last night via email. All the commissioners received it.
Well, let me say this. I don't like saying this, but I have to say this, and I have to be as blatant as I possibly can. Anytime you send me something at night before the meeting, I may see it, I may not see it. I may be out of town, may not get back to 2 a.m. in the morning. So I'm gonna be honest with you, with the chair and the director. Anytime you do something like that, that's a sign not to trust it. Okay? Anybody that knows business, you send them something at night, it's not adequate time or guarantee that they're sitting by their computer waiting to receive an email from someone that they don't even know that's sending the email. So I need enough time to read the policy. I haven't had adequate time to read the policy. So I need enough time to read the policy. And anybody, no, I'm going out on a limb now, and anybody vote for something that was sent to them overnight, as important as the policy is, something has to be definitely wrong. I mean, we have the attorney here today. It's the reason he's here. So if you send the attorney something at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm just using this as an example. I wouldn't expect for him to be here this morning addressing what I had emailed him or however he had received what I sent him. That's a sign of being, and let me use an old term, that you don't respect the board member. It's just that clear. I can't make it any plainer. Else you don't respect the board member, else you're making a fool out of the board member. That's just leadership, period. I'm not talking about trying to be degrading anyone. I'm speaking from a leadership perspective. And anybody that disagrees with that, something has to be wrong with them. Now, an attorney here, I'd like to refer to the attorney.
Okay, are you done with your comments, sir?
Well, can I refer to the attorney?
I don't think so at this time. We're talking on the subject, so let's move through the questions and comments.
Well, my question to you, why would you wait at nighttime to email this?
I don't know what time it was emailed out. I didn't check it.
But do you think?
And I didn't send it out. In business, things happen at the last minute. This policy, the actual short-term disability, long-term disability policy went into effect on February 1st. They've been working on it, trying to get the wording correct. They've been working through the attorneys, having the attorneys review them to make sure that the wording's correct. They have a committee that they've gone through, and they've done all that work. So let's, if you're done with your comments, so let's.
But let me say something else. Let me say something.
Mr. Massey,
Let
let's
me-
stop.
I said I was
stop.
gonna make a comment.
Yes, but you've made several
But
comments.
yeah, but let me say something else.
Mr. Massey, stop. I'm going to ask the other board members, let's give them an opportunity, and we'll come back to you.
Okay. All
right, so is there any other board members that would like to make a comment or a question?
I do.
Mr. Geringer.
I have to agree with Joseph in the manner that it came like at the last minute. It looks to me like we're having a meeting on the 16th, which is just a week away.
Yep.
Basically, if we could table this at this point and postpone it until the 16th and bring it back up, that'll give an opportunity for Joe to take a look at the document and satisfy it to his thinking, I would hope.
That is,
I would support that because I did second this. I knew from yesterday's meeting that we was going to get it because I had a meeting prior to with the managing director about it. My understanding was that we do not at this point have a long-term disability.
correct.
And I thought that was the basis of us trying to put that in there and get it in so it'll go anywhere all together. So as far as under that guidance of it, I thought it would be okay. But I do agree that yes, if Brother Massey needs some more time to look through it and make sure that if it fits his criteria, then I'm willing to pull back my second and see if we can postpone it until the 16th also.
Okay. Mr. Garinger?
Irregardless of whether Joe agrees with it or he doesn't agree with it, after looking at the documentation, it gives us at least the appearance of being open and upfront. So I think that would be prudent.
All right, thank you. Ms. Lane, did you have a question?
No, I can wait until the 16th in concurrence with the
All right,
others.
So, to address this, I have no problems with postponing it. All right, Mr. Massey indicates otherwise, and I take offense to that. The way you address me is, you don't direct your comments to me respectfully. You insinuate things that are not accurate, and you don't have no proof or evidence of any of these, and I don't appreciate it, sir. So I have no problems. If you need extra time, just state that you need extra time, and you would like time to review it. You don't need to make accusations.
Let me say this. Let me say
No,
this.
no, Mr. Massey, I didn't call on you. So this is.
Hold it.
Mr. Massey, I'm talking. Thank you. So the motion maker has recommended to wait and postpone until the 16th meeting. The supporter has agreed to that. So right now, the motion on the floor is to postpone it to the 16th meeting where everybody has time to review it. And if you have any questions, you need to contact Randy in the interim to get your answers. Okay? All right, roll call?
Massey,
No.
Garinger,
We voted no.
No, we're voting yes to postpone it.
To postpone?
Oh, yes,
postpone it.
then. Yes.
So you want to retract your no and take a
Yeah, I
yes?
want to retract my no and say yes.
Massey, Garinger,
Yes.
Elkins.
Yes.
Lane,
Yes,
Smith,
Yes.
Okay. All right, item 9A2.
Item A2, MDOT contract number 235559, MDOT project number 214457, Maple Road Bridge over Sword Street, located in Northwest Township and Lundy Township. The Genesee County Road Commission was approved by MDOT to receive Staples Bridge funds for bridge rehabilitation and other miscellaneous item support for the Maple Road Bridge over Sword Street. The local match for this project identified in fiscal year 2023-2024 PCRC budget, Part 91. The Michigan Department of Transportation programs and advertising all federally funded projects. A copy of MDOT contract number 235559 for the record project is attached for board approval. Estimated project funding participation for the project will be as follows. Staples Bridge funds, $836,475. GCRC local share, $45,025. The full project cost is $881,500. And the recommendation is that the Board of County Road Commissioners approve MDOT contract number 235559 for bridge rehabilitation and other miscellaneous items to work to the Maple Road Bridge over Fort Street. And furthermore, direct two board members electronically sign the contract on behalf of the Board of County Road Commissioners.
move, Mr. Chair.
Second.
I think Mr. Massey got the second on that one. All right, any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, roll call?
Garinger,
Yes.
Elkins.
Yes.
Lane,
Yes,
Smith,
Yes.
Massey,
Yes.
Okay. Item 9A3.
Item 9A3. Item A3, approval of consultant for construction inspection staking and office tech. Elms Road Bridge and the Linden Road Bridge replacement. GCRC project 469-65, 277, and 469-65, 371, both located in Vienna Township. The board previously approved road professional service company, for construction inspection services, construction staking services, and MDOT certified office tech services for the Genesee County Road Commission. The construction department manager is requesting a purchase order for construction inspection staking and office tech for the Elms Road Bridge and Linden Road Bridge replacement projects in an amount of $213,000 to be spent. 8.1% of the construction bid. There is adequate funds and budgeted in Department 91 fiscal year 2023-2024 to cover these costs. All available GCRC staff are assigned to other projects. The recommendation that Road PSC currently has AEO plan on file with the GCRC. The recommendation is that the Board of County Road Commissioners approve the issuance of a blank purchase order to Road PSC for construction inspection staking office tech in an amount of $213,050 for for the Elmsville Bridge, and Linden Road Bridge.
So moved.
Support.
Any questions, comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Elkins?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Massey?
Yes.
Geringer?
Yes.
Okay, item A4.
Item A4, local road agreement for roadway reconstruction, Green Meadows Drive road located in Grand Line Park Township. Grand Line Park Township requested BJF to perform rehabilitation and other miscellaneous items, construction items to the approach on Green Meadows Drive, South Saginaw Street, Westlake, 200 foot. A copy of the local road agreement signed by Grand Line Park Township along with a copy of resolution including project provided for BJF to review. Cost sharing for the board will be shown below. The BCRC adequate funding identified in fiscal year 2023-2024 91 budget to cover a portion of the work. Grand Lake Park Township will pay $30,000. The BCRC will pay the engineering inspection of $10,000 for the cost of $40,000. The recommendation is that the Board of County Road Commission approve the local road agreement for the roadway rehabilitation of Green Meadows Drive approach. Furthermore, to authorize the local chairperson, vice chairperson to sign the construction agreement on behalf of the Board of County Road Commission.
So moved.
Second. Who said
was a
so
tie.
moved? Who said so moved?
All right, any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, roll call.
Lane?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Massey?
Yes.
Geringer?
Yes.
Elkins?
Yes. All right, item A5.
Item A5, bidders also award contract for Green Road, Gale to Ridge Road, UCRC number 4968 W500816, tree removal and clearing located in Atlas Township. Bids were received for tree removal and clearing on Green Road, Gale Road, to Ridge Road located in Atlas Township. The approval bid was submitted by Ronald Tree Service in the amount of $48,409.48, 74.52 below the engineer's estimate of $190,000. Further approved local road agreement at Atlas Township will fund the cost of the project. Ronald Tree Service LLC is an equal employment opportunity plan on file with the road commission. The recommendation is that the board accepts a low bid of $48,409.48. Furthermore, authorizes the award and signs the construction contract after staff is approved and accepted the contract filing for issuance. Insurance that is given by Ronald Tree Service LLC for the tree removal and clearing of Green Road, Hill Road to Ridge Road.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? Mr. Massey?
Mr. Chair, I have a question. Seemed like I recall we had some tree removal. Something came before us a week ago or 2 weeks ago about tree removal.
That was, I believe it was our purchase, it was issuance of purchase order for tree removals in the county at large for our road projects that we have to clear trees out in the winter months for environmental reasons is what it was.
So this is different.
It is, yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Ms. Lane?
I was just wondering if anybody had a reason why this was only about a third of the estimated cost for engineering.
Well, I did take a hard look at that. It is largely due to the fact that the numbers that we use when we estimate for things for trees are a bit higher because they come from MDOT and there's more restrictions and things like that as far as getting in and doing the work. And it was a good time to bid the job, and there was a lot of contractors that really wanted to have it. All the bids were pretty close to each other for the most part, minus a few. We're within about $20,000 of each other here, and we have a contractor that's quite capable of doing the work and is satisfied.
All right, but you still check it out when it's
yeah.
done, and if they don't complete it satisfactorily, you can demand.
That's correct. We have materials. We have things built into the contract to do
Okay,
that, yes.
all right.
All right, any other questions? All right, roll call.
Smith?
Yes.
Massey?
Yes.
Geringer?
Yes.
Elkins?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Okay, item A6.
Item A6, Administrative Service Contract for Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. The Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan quarterly settlement for the period covering September 2023 to November 2023 is complete. This data is used to calculate the required contribution for March 2024 through May 2024. Last quarter's monthly payments due were $437,590 each. An analysis of the current settlement report has resulted in three payments of $368,327 each, due to Blue Cross Blue Shield for the next quarter. Staff recommends that the Board of County Road Commissioners approve the Blue Cross Blue Shield quarterly settlement statement report for September 2023 to November 2023, and furthermore, authorize the wire transfer of funds to Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan in the amount of $368,327 each prior to the first day of March, April, and May 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Any question, Mr. Massey?
I have a question to the finance director. If I'm wrong, please correct me. I don't recall this coming before the board before.
Oh, yeah, this report comes quarterly, and we adjust the next quarter's payments based on the previous 12 months' activity. And this, it's not a true quarter, it's off a month. This is March to May, and the analysis is September to November, so it's kind of their quarter's not a true quarter, but it's 3 months' activity.
Oh, okay. I'm wondering, that's why I said, I don't remember seeing this coming before the board before, but we will see this in your, in the log, right?
I'm sorry, you'll see it where?
We will see this payment logged, right?
In the vouchers?
Oh,
Yes.
the
yes,
voucher.
yes. The wire transfer is sent the last working day of each month for the
Oh,
next
okay.
month's
Okay,
payment.
thank you.
Geringer?
So if I understand correctly, Tracy, this is a formula that you achieved from previous year?
Yeah, they analyze the previous 12 months' activity to develop the payment for the next quarter.
So it's not the actual costs that are involved at this point?
Yeah, it's the actual cost for the previous 12 months, and they use those actual costs to develop the next quarter. They'll add to it, the service fees and other things, and then they'll adjust whether we over or underpaid the previous quarter and come up with our next payment.
That's what I was trying to put forth to the board, that it's really not an actual cost. It's one that you have achieved through doing a study of what you had last year. And so we're estimating at this point it could be lower, could be higher for the actual cost.
Right, it will be trued up, in the next
Thank you.
quarter.
Anybody else have any questions? All right, see, Mr. Geringer?
If I might, by saying that, so when it comes forth with documentation and it shows a different number, Joe, then we'll know why. It's because you did the actuary at that point and achieved exactly how much money it really was. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Massey?
That's why I asked, would it be logged on the voucher? Then when I asked that, yeah.
That's why I asked that question.
Yes.
Anyone else? All right, roll call?
Massey?
Yes.
Geringer?
Yes.
Elkins?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Okay, A7.
Motion to approve.
Support. Mr. Garinger?
This truck, at this point, will have an addition of a post hole digger put on the back. Yeah, and that's why you're purchasing the new truck, is because you need to have, to replace that truck in order, because its usefulness has gone away. My question is, can't you put a post hole digger on a grade all and circumvent this? And you actually could put it on a skid steer also, to my understanding.
Okay.
If I might, yeah, let you weigh in.
So, to your question, Commissioner Garinger, can you put a post hole digger or a post hole on a grade all? Yeah, you can. However, from our operational standpoint, it wouldn't be practical on the basis, as Director Love indicated, this vehicle is used in the sign shop. And so this is replacing a Digger Derrick 1140 that's been there for quite some time. So when they're doing and setting their poles, that's where they're using that Digger Derrick itself, and it also has a bucket available to them. So it's a multi-purpose vehicle. The post or the post pounder could be on the pickup truck, and that's typically where it goes, or it goes on the, I think it was 1125. There's another vehicle that actually has one on it too. So practicality in operations, it makes more sense to put it on this vehicle and keep the signs and signals linked together than put it on a grade all or say a grader. But it's something that we could look at in the event that the districts need that.
Let me be perfectly clear. I did not mean to put you on the spot, Kendra. I apologize for that. I don't want to ask a question that maybe you don't have an answer to, but I am somewhat familiar with some of these. I know that we have an extra grade all at this point, and so I was just thinking about cost savings in the long run. Yeah, it is old also.
And that's a spare. I mean, each district has a grade all.
Yes.
Each district has their own.
And I know that you keep that in reserve in regards to if one that goes down or you have to have it serviced, then you have that available, and it's a great idea, to be honest with you. So it was just a question, so it's no.
The sign shop supervisor and the doc. And we discussed this, like, when we got the report that it was gonna be out of service. You can see the
Yes, I did see that.
Like, we sat down, and we had multiple meetings, do you wanna go with Digger Derrick, do you wanna go with all tech? Like, we actually had meetings with each, salesman, we sat down, we all tech, they're out until like 2027. So that was kind of like,
Okay.
so then we sat down with, so they came up with what they actually wanted on this actual fleet. I listened to the district supervisors and the operators to see what, they wanted.
I think that's excellent. I think listening to the guys with boots on the ground, they're the ones that really know what's happening out there. We that are pushing the buttons sometimes need to be educated. The cost of, it's about $250,000 when you add in the digger that sits on the back. So it's a lot of money. So I feel like it's just prudent to ask.
All right, Mr. Massey?
Mr. Chair, thank you. Direct this question to either the person just last spoken or either the director. It seemed like we had a discussion about new vehicles, maybe been 3 or 4 months ago. And if I'm wrong, please correct me. is that I recall someone saying that, I believe it may have been you, Mr. Director, that we was gonna try to replace as many vehicles that have reached a life expand, okay? And do you recall that conversation?
Well, if we're going back to the purpose of how we evaluate our fleet, then yes.
Yes,
That is,
yes.
we evaluate our fleet as Director Love Brazell does, based on mileage, based on, you know, maintenance, repair and operating costs, service life, things like that. So when you look at this piece of equipment, and not to, Director Love can add, but this is a 2003 International chassis. It has definitely met its life, and provided then some for it. The only reason why this vehicle has been able to be in the fleet as long as it has is primarily because of the use. It's not an everyday go out in the field truck. It is a truck that has diversity to it. It provides so much for the signal department that they're able to put poles in, hang the signals with a bucket, and do other things. So when she looks at this particular equipment or all equipment, there is a lifespan on our equipment, and we try to, you know, hit that sweet spot.
That's why,
You gotta find the right cuts where you can get rid of vehicles, like, you know, you gotta look at, you know, how much am I putting into it versus the use of it, and find that sweet spot, which is difficult, which I'm learning now. But you gotta find that sweet spot when you get rid of it and then replace it. So when I looked at it, because I thought somebody was gonna ask me questions about that. The sweet spot was some years ago.
Mr. Massey?
yeah, that's what I was driving at. That, have you guys ever found that the vehicle may not be that old, but the maintenance cost has gone up? And it may be an opportunity to say, hey, we should get rid of this vehicle. You know, I should use the phrase, replace this vehicle, okay? I thought you were gonna bring that. When I,
You know, it's still, it's a ways out, like, you gotta basically jump in. They won't get paid until they build the truck, but I'm just saying, sometimes you wanna replace something, but there's nothing to buy, because it's not out there. So you're limping it along, but then, I know on my end too, I'm putting more costs, more labor, but at the same time, I can't replace it, so. It's a piece of equipment, so for me, that's like a task that I have to figure out, like, I'm getting mine right now, I cannot get in line next year. This truck will be out of commission, and the sign shop won't have what they need to do their job, and they're running it now. And you gotta come and say, hey, rent something, and rent's over.
yeah,
Can you wait 1 second? Because Mr. Geringer had a question, and I'll come back to you then.
yeah, no problem.
I don't really have a question, I have a comment, more or less. I completely agree with what you're saying. If the cost effectiveness has gone to the point where it doesn't make sense, it's not about dollars, it's about cents. And you need to move forward with buying a new vehicle, even though 1963, or 2003, I should say, is, it's way out there. And I do agree with the supplies. You know, you have to get in line. You can always step out of that line, but you got to get into it to get things moving. So I can appreciate that.
All done? All right, Mr. Massey?
Yes, I'd like to make a comment. I don't know whether this was an offline comment or in the meeting that the director and I had. Sometime when you're leading and in the position of the director, you have to move when you're counting the money. It may be the right, it may not, in some instance, it may not be the right time, I use that as an example, to buy a vehicle. But now you have the money because in the next year, you're gonna need a new vehicle, along the lines that you were saying. And I'm quite sure you guys follow that procedure somewhere in the back of your mind, a policy that you have. It may not be written, but it's in the back of your mind when you look at the finance. Well, if we don't get this year, when it comes due, we may not have the money based on some of the other things that you foresee down the road.
Okay.
There's only so much money to go around. It's not just for equipment. There's only so much money to go around.
Yes.
All right, any other questions? Okay, roll call?
Geringer?
Yes.
Elkins?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Massey?
Yes.
Okay, item A8.
Requesting board approval to purchase PMI hot patcher. Sourcewell is a municipal contracting agency. We allow cities, counties, local governments, and nonprofits to benefit from the use of cooperatives. Sourcewell has awarded a roadway maintenance equipment contract to KM International. One KMI hot patcher, model KM 8000. The new KM hot patcher is in addition to the Athens Garage fleet, costing $35,445. Funds are available in Department 30, 23, 24, fiscal year capital outlay, road equipment line item 976. KM International has approved GEOP on file. They have met all of the Genesee County Road Commission specifications and requirements. Recommendation that the Board of County Road Commissioners approve the issuance of a purchase order to KM International for one KMI hot patcher in the amount of $35,445.
So move.
Support.
Any questions or comments? Mr. Massey?
My question is that, this is the hot patch, right? The hot patch, is this equipment better than the equipment that we're probably replacing or need to be replaced? In your opinion?
And they have the most amount of road miles,
Oh, okay.
requesting that a second hot patch. He has one already, he's requesting a second one, so he can send out more.
I guess my question is, you're not replacing it.
Yeah, it's additional.
Is the technology more advanced on this one or the same? Okay, thank you. Yes.
Anyone else? Mr. Smith?
How many do we currently have?
Each district has one, and then, Metro, it, has two, and then
Anything else? No? All right. Seeing no more further questions, roll call?
Elkins?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Massey?
Yes.
Geringer?
Yes.
Okay, A9.
TMV 2015 The state of Michigan has awarded the aerial tower a purchase contract to Versalift Midwest. One Versalift TMV 2015 air dog total cost $252,576. The new equipment will be replacing the following equipment within the fleet. Equipment number 2540, a 2003 Versalift VSP 50 with air armor and design shop. Funds will be budgeted in Department 30, 24, 25, fiscal year capital outlay, road equipment line item 976. Estimated delivery is March 2025. Versalift Midwest has improved GEOP on file. They have met all of the Genesee County Road Commission Mayor Barrett, the total amount commission amount of $250,000.
So moved.
Support.
Anybody have any questions or comments? Going on the back of that truck we discussed earlier. All right, no questions? Roll call.
Lane,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Massey,
Yes.
Geringer.
Yes.
Elkins.
Yes. All right. Item 10, we have vouchers in a total of $2,692,246.03.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Questions, comments?
Yes, I have a question. Mr. Chair, I have a question for the finance director or the director, but I would prefer the finance director. I marked it and see what I highlighted here. When some of our bills that we pay, say, use as an example, the building of the erecting of the new building, okay? Do we make quarterly payments to the companies that are working, or do we make every 6 months payment, or do we make yearly payment?
So those invoices are coming directly from the contractor. Randy, are you requiring monthly billing from that contractor? I'm not quite sure.
Right now, they haven't necessarily, they send financial reports twice a month, and we receive them. However, there's no quarterly or anything, it's just submitted. And realistically, it's the fees, the permit fees that we're paying. So most of it is permit fees, and things like that. But it's when they submit it on a monthly basis.
Because I didn't see anything here. Oh, okay, thank you.
Wait, coming soon, Joe.
Yeah, okay.
Any other questions, Joe?
No other question.
Mr. Geringer?
I see that there's the mailbox reimbursement of $30 to a resident for damage that was done by, I'm assuming, snowplow. Doesn't seem like it's a lot of money to reimburse. Is there any way that we can look into changing the policy and raising that at some point so that it's more realistic? Because nobody comes out, replaces a mailbox for $30 nowadays. Can't even buy one for that.
To answer that question, Commissioner, that's the pleasure of the entire board. We can bring this policy back to you, and you guys can review it. I get it to you, you can review it, and then if you'd like to modify that $30 to a higher increase, that's up to the board.
Mr. Massey?
I
Oh,
have
wait,
a
wait a second.
Go ahead.
Are you done?
I'm good with that if it's
Okay.
good with the board. So,
Okay.
Mr.
Massey?
I have a question. Based on what you just said, Director, will that affect our finance, the way we log, or do we have to change the way we currently do the business in that respect?
The board
He's asking about the accounting process. It shouldn't change the accounting
the
at all.
accounting
It's just a matter of
process is-
changing our policy.
Oh, okay.
That's all it is.
Okay.
So maybe we request some information, like data in regards to how many we do a year, the total cost, the
Okay.
cost to replace one, and then bring that information back to the full board, and then the full board can discuss it at that time.
Okay.
Would that be good?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Geringer?
I'm good with that if
Okay.
Ms. Khan's good with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's going to
we
be on
will-
you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll bring the policy before the board, and I do believe that, we are asking for receipts, but we don't reimburse actual cost. We have a preset determined amount that we reimburse, but
So we'll do a little research, get some data, and then bring it back to the board at a later date to discuss. Mr. Geringer?
I would agree with, the way you're looking at it. You get receipts knowing that they actually replaced it, but you have a cap on it.
Right.
Absolutely, but that cap just needs to be higher.
Yep. So we can look at that and bring it back. All right, any other questions? All right, seeing none, roll call?
Smith,
Yes.
Massey,
Yes.
Behringer,
Yes.
Elkins.
Yes.
Lane,
Yes,
Okay, now, item A11.
Amendment to GCRC permit agreement, GCRC docket number 76-5196, 76-5195, 76-5197, and 76-5199. And the GCRC permit numbers 30282, 30281, 30283, and 30284. Payment to rehabilitation on various roadways, all located in Charter Township. Charter Township has recently completed its final billing, the following four rehabilitation projects started and approved in fiscal year 2023 under permit authority issued by the DCRC Permit Department. The four projects are Riverdale Drive, CountyRoad Drive, Range Drive, or Shield Drive. The approved allocation was $127,000, $41.43. The revised allocation is $231,541.12. First permit agreement with GCRs, approved by the GCRC board on September 6, 2023. The Genesee County Road Commission will provide funding match for the construction in the amount of $177,481.23 identified as GCRC allocation funds dedicated to Quick Start Township. Since approval of the permit application, Quick Start Township was able to secure additional $54,089.89 GCRC allocation funds via transfer. Subsequently, Flint Sutter Township wishes to apply the allocation to the projects as shown above. Construction will represent an increase of $54,059.89 in GCRC allocation, which is 30% over the originally approved $177,481.23 outlined in the permit agreement. Per GCRC policy for construction application, construction increases over 8% before it requires GCRC board approval. The GCRC currently has adequate funding in its dedicated allocation of fiscal year 2023-2024 for Flint Charter Township to cover the cost of the contract overage. The advisement is that the Board of County Road Commissioners be notified that the permit agreement be amended to allow Flint Charter Township to utilize an additional $54,058.89 of available GCRC allocation funds dedicated to Flint Township.
Move.
Second.
Okay. The reason why I had this moved on the agenda because the amount that the board had previously approved was $177,000. The amount that was being requested now was $231,000. So there was an increase, and to do an increase, the board has to approve it. So that's why we moved it from a consent item to an actual item on the agenda to be presented for board vote. Mr. Massey?
Mr. Chair, didn't we talk about something similar to this?
I'm sorry?
I think we had a conversation about something similar to this. Is that we approve one number and then at the end we come back and approve another number.
Well, this is different than what you're thinking. This is allocated funds that the townships are given, and they're allowed to trade with other townships. So what they've done is they've negotiated with another township to get additional match dollars that they can use this year. And then what they'll do is they'll give back the match dollars that they got from that township, they'll give back to the other township. So Davison and Flint Township could trade allocated dollars in 1 year, and then the next year they would trade them back. So that's the difference here. The cost in the project, I don't know if that went up or not, but Alex can speak to that. But they were allocated dollars here that were being shifted back and forth.
Yeah, what it is this, the Flint Township does their road improvements under permit every year. Small package they put out, and they put their allocation dollars to the authority to, they have to meet all the requirements, allow us to kind of allocation. So back in September of last year, we put a permit agreement out to let the board know that we're gonna show up with, they wanna approve this work, we have permits for these roads, and they want to use their allocation funds that we give them for these roads. And in between the time of the agreement that's set aside here, you bid it out and then you build it. And so you're dealing with the final construction price. And in that meantime, the township also says, well, I can maybe find some more money I want to put to this too, because they have more of a threshold they can reach. And so that's what they do. They go out to talk to other townships as this is growing. And they secure allocation funds. In this case, they wanted to put it to these jobs that we've done. And procedurally, it's something with Flint Township or any other township we generally do every year. We did it last year, the year before. It's really just a matter of the township going out, finding more allocation funds via our transfer policy, putting them to a little project, and then having
Mr. Geringer, hang on a second. Mr. Massey, you have a follow-up?
Oh,
It's okay, Joe, you, go
ahead,
ahead.
Joe.
You-
Oh,
go
oh,
ahead.
okay.
You go first, and then we'll go to Chris.
okay. My concern is by reading this, I didn't see no indication that or else I didn't understand what I read, one of the two, that what we're discussing, what you guys said, that this is for. I didn't see anything on here indicated that that's what happened.
Well,
So,
it addresses it as allocations, so we just know what an allocation is. So that just comes from a little bit of experience on the board, that's all.
I guess I'm saying this is the first time I've seen this. I don't recall this.
Well, we've had things similar to this in the
Yeah,
past.
I've never
but
seen- yeah.
Every situation's different, you know? I
Yes,
mean, we don't
okay.
usually get a lot of things that are exactly the same, so
So the townships can do what I
they can
call
trade their
Trade.
allocation dollars.
old trade. Well, let me ask the question. I know you have more experience on calling my car lady. Car lady, I can't pronounce it correctly. But anyway, should it be on here trading something? And that would give us more indication of what's going on?
I don't know. I
Trade
mean,
of,
I think it's an agreement between the townships, it's
yeah,
called.
Yeah, it's a contract between the townships. You give me 50,000 this year, I'll give you the 50,000 back next year.
okay, I don't even see that on here.
That's not on it. That was an example. I just made that up. That was just an example to give you an idea how it works. So with the allocations, the townships get allocations, and then they can carry over. Is it still a year, Alex?
It gets complicated.
Okay, but they can carry over a year. So if I got 100,000 last year, I could carry over that 100,000. I'd have 200,000 this year. I could do a big project this year if I was budgeting for it.
Yes.
If I don't spend that 200,000 this year, then I lose that 100,000. It just goes out the window. It's use it or lose it. And I can only roll over 1 year's allocation. So what happens is the townships start trading, and the big townships like Grand Blanc, Flint Township, they're always asking for extra allocations because they've got the extra money to do more road projects.
Yes.
So that's kind of how this happens.
Now that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I understand.
Okay. Mr. Geringer?
The premise of this system is to keep the costs down for the townships as much as possible. There's shared monies, which is called allocation funds, and those shared monies come from the Genesee County Road Commission, which they commit to. And so what you're actually looking at is a dollar amount that would be shared with someone else at that point. So say they wanted to do a project, and they say, I want to do it for $50,000. The shared is a 50-50 on it. $25,000 goes from the road commission to help alleviate those costs for the township itself. The township then decides, look, I'm not going to do this project. I'm going to share it with someone else. So they share that monies with someone else. So they receive that exact amount of monies back from it. So you're not really taking any more monies from the road commission to supply it. You're just divvying it up to different townships at the time. You understand?
I understand that.
Cool.
I understand that.
All right. Any other questions,
I
comments?
know you would.
All right. No more questions or comments, and roll call?
Massey?
Yes.
Geringer?
Yes.
Elkins?
Yes.
Lane?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
All right. Managing Director's report. What do you have, sir?
Yes, Mr. Chair. So, a couple things for the board as a whole. Highway conferences, Tuesday, March 19th through Thursday, March 21st. Again, that's Tuesday, March 19th through Thursday. Thursday is the business meeting, so Thursday morning of March 21st. So if you are planning to attend the highway conference, please let myself or Linda know so that we can reserve that spot for you. I believe everyone has gotten the agenda that's been presented by Craig. If you haven't, let us know. We'll get you a copy of the agenda again. So just a reminder on that because it's right around the corner. That is in Lansing.
I didn't want to interrupt you. I want you to finish. I was going to ask the question. Are we planning to be there as a group?
This is one that usually the majority of the board in the past has gone. So it would be nice if we went, if everybody attended, because it's a good conference. It gets you a chance to see equipment, talk to vendors. They do have a few educational spots, I believe.
Yeah, they have a lot of education spots
So,
throughout the day.
yeah, and you're not gonna have to be there every day. There's, I think, 2 days that have the classes and the conference open to the vehicles and vendors.
The only reason I asked the question, if you understood my question, I thought one day it may be nice if we could plan that if the majority of us could go the same day. Because, when you're looking at the equipment, sometime you may have some questions at that time. And, you start writing down stuff, then you forget about the other thing. So I can ask the question to the director, even you may know.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be there.
We
Director
have
Love will be there.
several people are there usually.
Yeah, other directors will be there, we'll be there.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yep. And if you want to carpool, we can talk about carpooling, trying to keep 2 people in a vehicle and not 3 or 4.
Okay. Well, I don't, you know me about carpooling.
Yeah.
I don't mind carpooling, but somebody can't, well, I ain't gonna get on that topic.
But we can talk about it. We've got
Yes.
time to plan it. so.
Yes, okay.
Okay, anything else?
Just a couple quick from department directors. Act 51 report, the next step is to balance all reports to financial statements prior to submission. The final report is due May 1st of 2024. Healthcare plan quotes, all paperwork is completed and signed for our healthcare consultant to collect quotes, and healthcare costs for the next plan year. We're waiting for those to come in. GCRC is looking to develop a disciplinary procedure process, which we already have, but we're going to put it in writing. Recruiting goals and development of strategic recruiting plans. A quick update on Metro Garage contractor, completed the foundation and stem walls and the outer walls of the new building. So if you haven't had a chance to swing by there, take a look at it, make sure you have your safety gear. You need a hard hat. You'll definitely need boots and a safety vest and glasses. So keep that in mind too for the Metro Garage.
Well, can I,
Go ahead.
sorry. Would the board members like to do, like we did last time, we all went out to the site? Would you guys be interested in going out to the site? That way we could dole out the hard hats, and meet on one day and drive out there? Mr. Massey?
I think that's a good idea. I'd like to make an additional comment. I don't know whether you were involved in this conversation or not, but I know the director and the deputy director, we had a conversation about when is the timing right that we can go out where it makes a lot of sense. You remember that conversation? Because if we go out there at certain times, it may be just looking at basically.
It just, to be honest with you, it depends on the activity they have going on out there. As the chairperson indicated, we could plan to go out there after the 16th meeting, if that fits everybody's schedule. Again, we'll have the hard hat, we'll have the vest, we'll have everything available for you. Just make sure you have a pair of boots. Potentially, I wouldn't be wearing those shoes out there.
But is there enough going on that we can make some kind of sense out of it?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so?
Yeah, I think there's enough out there that you can make sense of the building and the layout.
Okay.
We'll probably do multiple trips out there over the course of
Yes.
the project.
Yes.
Anything else, Joe?
No, thank you.
Mr. Geringer?
The project itself has the footings in it, so it has the footprint of the building itself, and it has a bunch of lead walls that are put up, so you're gonna get a good picture of exactly what it's supposed to look like in the future, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So it would be worthwhile. As far as the employees that are there working at the time, that's catch as catch can. I've been out there, and when I looked around, they just have a few people, and then you have the excavator sitting there. You're thinking that maybe you should be, but they're at lunch or something, So you see them sitting in the pickup. So
I just have two or three more things. Crews are busy with pothole patching throughout the county and grading gravel roads, just in case you guys get calls. GCRC was just awarded another 2025 federal aid safety project, Irish Road, Fort Street, northerly, 1,700 project will widen the road from an existing 4-lane configuration to 5 lanes dedicated left turn lane to improve safety for the motoring public. And then we also have recently promoted an internal employee to take the position of the Director of Engineering prior to that. Last thing I have is Board Effect. It is a software program that Ms. Kosak and myself went over to Shiawassee County Road Commission to review. It is an electronic program which would eliminate all of this paper that we keep having. We have a demo scheduled for tomorrow. We're going to look at it. The aggressive approach is to try to have this by the first meeting in March. And what it is all of the data that you see in front of you, paperwork-wise, will be on a computer screen. So each commissioner would get a tablet or a laptop, and you would do all of your agendas, your board documents, as well as the library of other documents, meaning past minutes, past board agendas, so on and so forth, will all be there. So we're looking at it tomorrow. The pricing is reasonable. It's far, right now, it looks like it's far less than what we're actually paying to make paper copies. That is all I have.
Right. And then just to follow up on that, we're going to have the different types of equipment, probably 2 different types that the board would be using. And they'll be bringing that to show to the board potentially before we make a decision as a board to go what product we're going to go with. So we'll be able to actually hopefully look at and touch is the goal of the piece of equipment that we'll be using instead of paper and pen. Okay. Mr. Massey, did you have a question?
I have a question, Mr. Chair, I have a question for the director. For you too, Mr. Chair. Would the board as a whole be asking too much? I'm sorry speaking for the board, but they have to stand alone.
Don't speak for the board, just
Okay.
speak for yourself,
I'm
please.
speaking for myself.
Thank you.
It would be to my advantage the day of the meeting that you passed out your managing director report. So as you go through it, we can view it, if that's not asking too much.
You want a copy of my managing director's report?
Yes. So only at the meeting, you know, because you may want to make some last minute changes. I want to make that clear. So something may come up, you know, after the package comes out.
Yeah, like
So
there's
if
2
you
items
get,
that I added onto it, so absolutely.
yeah, the day of the meeting, if you,
You just want it handed out at the meeting?
at the meeting.
Okay.
If that's okay with the rest
Be a problem.
of the board members.
That's fine.
Anything else? Anyone else? Okay, all right, commissioners, I'll start with Ms. Lane at this end. You have anything you'd like to share?
Okay, I shared with our new mother-to-be the article from the Flint Journal that the Michigan Department of Transportation is paying $10 for you to give your opinion as a resident as to whether you'd prefer to be taxed by gas usage like we are now, or if you wanted to be taxed by the number of miles you put on your vehicle. And so there's a $10 offering, and the article was in the Flint Journal, and I know it's being passed out by some of the news.
The MDOT, the department is no longer issuing that fast.
Well, they only had 10.
Never start an offer if you're gonna discontinue it.
They got enough, within the first day, they got enough of surveys that they ran out of $10 gift cards, so.
So you can still give your opinion, obviously, but it won't have any monetary value for coffee. The other thing, having been the clerk and addressing Mrs. Shapiro's statement, along the Dort Highway from Fenton to the bridge, and then the Bicentennial Park is on the other side. I was looking at having to increase another pole over there because it's primarily at least 3 apartment buildings, and I had over 2,000 people registered as voters in those apartment complexes. So if that helps anybody know that they have, you know, people who might use it or what's there. So this is a point of information. And so I gave everybody your early Valentine's Day present. So happy Valentine's Day, and for our Afro-American employees, a happy February in your history of the blacks in America.
Thank you.
Mr. Massey?
Yes, I have a comment. This is a very serious comment. It seems like every time I mention leadership protocol, there's a negative comeback that comes from the chairman to me, that he doesn't like me addressing leadership protocol. And I'm offended by that. I have never disrespected you. And because of your leadership attitude, I'm gonna say it again, because of your leadership attitude is the reason we are holding a meeting in this location. It's because of you, Mr. Chair. Now, I was outlining the protocol, okay? And I just gave some examples you didn't like. I used the attorney as an example, okay? Because that's the reason he's here. That's all I was doing. And you made this off-the-wall comment. I do not appreciate that, just like you said to me. I do not appreciate that. And I'm highly advising you, you can take it either way you want to, please stop that. I'm no child. I don't treat you like a child. So I'm not gonna tolerate you trying to degrade me or belittle me, okay? I'm a human being just like you. Now, that comment you made when I was speaking, and you've said that many other times, please do not say that again. I'm advising you. When I'm talking, because you said I could speak, and I spoke on your advice, okay? Please do not do that again. Now, you can take that either way you want to. I'm telling you in advance, because we have a parliamentary here, and I referred it to him. If I was out of order, the parliamentary all he had to do was intervene, okay? Without you making some degrading comment towards me.
The attorney won't intervene during the conversation like that. So that's.
Well, the conversation we had was a parliamentary conversation. In my viewpoint, I was just calling out leadership protocol. And every time I address leadership protocol, you have a problem with that. And I don't know why you have a problem with that. So it's something you're trying to do, but whatever you're trying to do is the reason we are here at this building today, is because of you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Mr. Geringer?
Monica Shapiro made it perfectly plain what her desire was in regards to having some sort of non-motorized traffic. I know that this is a very sensitive subject for Monica and for all of us, to be honest with you. Anybody who rides a bike or walks or uses a wheelchair. But I just can't get over this feeling that we're addressing the wrong people at this point. I think it needs to start at the township level.
Oh, I've been in front of the township so many
And our hands are somewhat tied for what our regulations. You've been here a few times, and I'm very sensitive to it. I'm a biker myself. I understand. I wanted to push to have the roads widened somewhat when the new road went in on Seymour Road. But that actually creates such a legal problem for the road commission itself, because then they have to own it. And if any accident should occur on that at that point, since they own it, they're responsible for that person that gets injured. The better result would be to be 10 feet off from the path, and then I know that there's problems with that because you have to go to all the residents and have them sign off on it where it goes through. But that being said, that is actually probably the best way to address it. And I feel for you, Monica. I would, and I'm sorry I'm addressing Monica and not to the board itself, but I think that she is so passionate for this, and I understand, but our hands are tied at this point.
I know you addressed me specifically, but I will say that case law, over and over again, if there are accidents on widened shoulders, on the road commissions are not held liable. That has never occurred, that they get sued and they win. So, I mean, if that's and also, AASHTO is the National Highway Safety Association, and they've said over and over again that 4 foot is a minimum amount that they consider safe for a bike lane on shoulders. I think this road commission doesn't want to get involved in road use for all users. They want to keep their hands off. They don't want to be responsible for design. They don't want to be responsible for upkeep. They want to leave that in the hands of the townships. And I think that's wrong. I think it should be together. We should all be working together to make this happen. And I think Genesee County is behind all the other counties in this state on this issue. It's sad that we're so far behind and we're doing such a poor job. But every other county is putting widened shoulders and marking on this bike lanes. And if we had 5 feet with a 1 foot buffer, that's reasonable safety. So that's my opinion on that.
I have to apologize to the board for bringing Monica in on this. This is commissioner's comments, so I would continue with my comments at this point. The M52 near Chelsea and Dexter have gone through extensive costs to get them off from the road. They don't want them on the road, and that's pretty obvious by the amounts of money that was put forth to run these bike paths and walk paths. So I would respectfully disagree with that comment that was made. But that being said, I also do agree that something needs to be done for the non-motorized. I just don't know whether it's through us at this point. Thank you. I know that I brought forth at the last meeting in regards to an update on the building, the Metro building. And I think maybe if we waited until after all the comments are made, just before adjournment, that if I could bring in John Mortimer and Kendra to make a statement, I think not at this point, but as soon as the commissioners are finished with their comments, that would be prudent.
All right, thanks. Mr. Smith?
Okay, awesome.
Okay. Yes, I just want to have one comment. I was had a conversation yesterday when I was at the road commission with the director, and I just wanted to put it out there that if not this year, maybe next year, but I believe this road commission should keep in mind, that this is February and it is Black History Month. In some kind of way, some kind of shape, some kind of fashion, we should be having some type of acknowledgement for that, for the whole road commission. Whether you put it in a newsletter, you talk amongst the employees, whatever avenue we need to take, we need to be at least looking toward that aim, because that right there will show that we are more transparent, and we do have the feeling of what our constituents and all the people that stay in Genesee County, what they are well aware of. Most other establishments, they do recognize Black History Month. And the director, he was more than open-minded about the idea. And so I would like to keep that on the forefront. If nothing this year, maybe sometime next year, but we need to make sure that our employees know that we do recognize that this February. And also, going forward, we're gonna have Juneteenth coming up too, so let's put it all together so we can make sure that we let everyone know that the road commission is going in a different direction. And we do recognize people's ethnicity and everything like that, you know. Just want to put that out there, because we need to be more going forward. Because there's some things that we could get dispelled if we just let people know that we have a heart. We have a heart, and we know we have different people with backgrounds that we need to be addressing that and letting people know that we do understand, you know. We all are people. We all from each other's heart. That needs to be put out there, and our employees need to know that we're not gonna keep on just pushing it under the rug, that we don't believe it's February and it's Black History Month. And whatever other way we can do it, it ain't gotta be a big thing this year, but just keep that in mind. You know, we are all adults, and we know that is a major thing with a lot of our Genesee County residents. So that's my comments.
Thank you. I think that's a great comment. The managing director mentioned it to me yesterday. After you guys had your meeting, we had a conversation, and I relayed to him. I thought that was a great idea, and I was glad that you brought it up. So it's something that they can, as administration, they can look at. I don't think we really need to get involved in it unless they don't do anything. So let's let them take it and see what they can do with it. So, Ms. Lane, you've had your chance. I'm sorry.
I want to support Commissioner Reggie, because yesterday he did say he wouldn't head up a committee, but he would be an advisor
He
to
would head
the
up the committee, is
committee.
what you told me. He was a,
No, he didn't. No, don't you dare say that. He said he would be an advisor, and yesterday he gave, he had one facility at GM that he handled a lot of that particular event. So he had that experience, but then he has to remember, we have 6 satellites, so I sent him home with homework. So he has to work on
Apparently he
what
did
can we
some, 'cause he
do to
brought
bring
some
them all
today, so.
together.
all right. So thank you. All right. We have a presentation. So Chris, are you gonna lead this presentation? Oh,
I certainly will, but before I do, I think I'd like to reiterate to Reggie. I wholeheartedly agree with you, Reg. I think that respect among all peoples is paramount, and I think we were appointed for a reason, and that reason is for the people of Genesee County, all peoples. And the softer view that we should take, and not the hard lines anymore, will go a long ways towards helping this community. With that being said, I'll go over the costs. Please bear with me for a moment. Maybe I'll switch and go to the podium. That way I can bring John and Kendra up and help out. As John and Kendra will be coming up in a few moments, I won't speak on their part of it, but I will speak on the financial end of it at this point. The original contract that we had was for $9,847,011. With any project, you're gonna have adds and subtracts as you go through these projects. Some things that you agree upon and some things you don't. Brevard has been very upfront with how much they've been having to add on to the projects, and they've also been very upfront on the deducts on the projects, which isn't much, I can tell you that right now. When we look at what was offered towards us, there was a deduct to sand and add stone. This was for the driveway. We chose not to do that at the time. That was a $58,713. But then we had to add for an aluminum gate, which was $5,273. And then they gave us a deduct from the original contract for using our own security contractor of $50,229, Well, Sonatrol themselves came in and it was 69,000. Let me look at my numbers. I believe it was about $69,527. Oh, 67,000 it says. No, that's the undercuts. There were some building pad undercuts that came to $67,527. And what that means is that they had to dig down farther in certain areas in order to get stable soil in order to build. And this is an undiscovered thing when they originally did the bid. And of course, that it's a rightful cost. Yes, Jim?
You didn't say we could ask questions, but I raised my hand.
I didn't. I was going to take questions afterwards, so.
Well, I can't remember because you said something I will forget. When you talked about digging down,
Yes.
do you know what the original depth was? I know it's below 36 inches.
Yeah, that would be for the footings that you're talking about, you know, and that was 28 inches on in some occasions and 42 inches on other occasions. But this is actually with the balancing of the site on the original project. So they have to have stable soil in order to build on and put sand in. So what occurred was they ran into some syrupy type soil which had to be dug out, and those were added costs that were added into it. It had nothing to do necessarily with the footings that were actually being put in. It was the balancing of the site, making the site so it's all even. So you have a 100 that you want to get to, obtain to, say you're up here, you know, like 101 on it, and you want to bring it down to that 100. Well, you dig that soil out in order to reach it. But sometimes what occurs is that you run into bad soil, and you have to dig that soil out and replace it with something that's stable. And that's where those costs were incurred.
But it sounds like the way you're explaining it, if I'm wrong, correct me, you're talking about a specific area. You're not talking about the entire perimeter.
It is not the entire perimeter. It was just parts of the perimeter that needed to be done. So you're absolutely correct. It was a specific area. It wasn't, we don't have to replace, we have to go down a lot farther on everything, or else the cost would have been exponential, because those excavators are expensive.
Yeah, you mentioned 28 inches. I thought that was a law that you had to go down around 36, below freezing, let's put it like that.
Interior footings, through Hobbs and Black, which John can explain very easily, their recommendation is to go down 28 inches. So the frost won't go down in, this is not taking into account the winter conditions. This is what Hobbs and Black's recommended to us, was to go down to the 28 inches and build up from there, and that it would be stable enough and would last through the winter. I can tell you that we did not necessarily agree with that. We changed that to 42 inches, and that was an added cost. It came in after a discussion of, yes, there's a possibility that since it might be a hard winter, and since it's winter conditions, that we needed to add that to our contract and dig down farther. What that did is that brought in the excavator to dig it down. It also brought in the concrete contractor to form it up. Then it called for the mason contractor to come in and lay 3 more courses of block on it, which was quite an extensive cost. But after we talked back and forth through several weeks on this, we decided that to be prudent with it and to add that on. So all of them at this point are down at 42 inches.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
You have an added cost for that interior footing that I just mentioned. That was $23,634. And then there was a cost for taking the utilities across the street, which was $17,274. And then you had the masonry winter conditions. Now, masonry winter conditions was added into the project itself in the beginning. it was $85,000. Now, I'm not going to talk about that $85,000. We'll hold that in reserve. I'm just going to talk about the costs that were incurred at this point. And we'll hold that in abeyance until afterwards. Yes,
The utility you mentioned, that's underground, right?
that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
At this point, their masonry winter conditions is $47,312. That's gonna cost us more money because we're only halfway through winter right now. So we can figure that it's gonna come up close to that $80,000. They did want to continue through with the salt barn itself. We have a schedule, and the salt barn was actually on the schedule to be pushed back until almost the end of winter. And they gave us we talked back and forth, they kind of threw out a number, it's gonna cost you $10,000 for us to do the salt barn. Well, you know, 10,000, that's not really a lot of money in a $10 million project. Maybe it's prudent for us to continue on and go ahead with it. Well, when they came back with the price, it was quite a bit more. So at that point, we decided, what good is it gonna do us? They have a schedule that they need to keep. If they don't keep to that schedule, there's a penalty that gets put on it, $750 a day. So we then discussed, well, who's it gonna aid? It's gonna take away that $750 a day, possibly, for them. It cost us $21,000 and change instead of the $10,000 that they spoke about. And where does it help us? Does it get us into the building sooner? Possibly, but they have a contract that says that they can take it out into September. So they could actually just keep working, and it saves us no money whatsoever. So after having that discussion, we decided that we would not adhere to that. And so that isn't a savings of $21,000. It does, but what it does is it doesn't cost us the $21,000, and the schedule remains the same. So Sonatrol, as they came in with their $69,000 and change, that's an add. So when you start adding all the numbers together, you have your base bid of $9,847,011. And you add in all the extras at this point, not taking into effect the $85,000, it comes to $10,030,928 at this point. Now that is, you know, and the reasons we haven't come to you and asked you for more funds, because we knew that the project was running over at this point, is it hadn't reached the 10% that we actually need to come to the board for. And this is a normal cost of doing business when you're building a barn like this. And it's an unfortunate, believe me, we're working very, very hard to keep those costs down. I'm on Randy all the time. Randy's always on Brevard and Hobbs all the time. What's best for the project itself that gives us the best product and keep the cost down the best we can. So any more questions in regards to the monies? Yes, Joe.
Yes, I heard you say very lightly that this is what it is right now.
Correct.
Possibility it could rise higher.
Absolutely. And I'm not one bit ashamed to tell you that there's a possibility that there's going to be more monies because of winter conditions, and it's going to overrun that $85,000 that we have in abeyance at this point. That's in the contract, and it may change as far as some of the utilities and some of the tap-in fees that are being charged. I mean, I didn't bring those into effect. We only had a certain amount for our tap-in fees, and now we have to do 2 tap-ins, and they have to be a specific type of tap-ins, and that's done by the Drain Commission, not necessarily by us. So it will go up. I'm not saying it might go up, it will go up. But we're gonna try our best to keep the costs down as much as possible. It's a lot of money that we're taking out of the hands of the residents in order to build this for their advantage in the future, but it's still a lot of money. Yes, Reg?
You said that you was gonna have to go hook up across the street. Where are we talking? What is?
Well, they dug across the street and maybe Randy can explain exactly where that, or Kendra. Kendra, you know anything about the utilities themselves? They have actually, the location for where the electrical and all the services are actually across the street near the asphalt plant itself.
That's what I'm asking, okay.
Closer to that, and then they had to dig across the road. And if you go down there with your cars, I know both of you have really nice cars, go slow, because it's not nice.
We have to do like you, wash our car every day.
Yeah, well, or call Randy and tell him to fix that road a little bit, like I have a lot. So I'm going to turn it over to Kendra right now, and she'll explain her end of it.
John is from
Yep.
Hobbs and
Mine and
Black.
John.
And so we just give you an update on some of the material and colors we have chosen so far for the new Metro Garage. So I guess I'll give it to you guys, but I gave you guys a diagram of what the new garage will look like.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna let John explain the board and where you
First of all, if you take a look at your handout here, I want to apologize. The colors represented here are not exactly the way that we're going to, the colors that we have selected. It has to do with not only computer monitors, the way printers print out and things like that. So the colors have been distorted a little bit here. But what we have on the board are the actual colors of the materials as they will be on the building. Again, if you look at the second page, it's a little closer view of it. And around the office space, right in here, right in the middle, right behind the flagpole, that is gonna be a masonry block, and it's gonna have actually 3 different colors to it. And we only have one of the colors. This is the major color that is gonna be on the building. From the windowsill up, it's gonna be this light colored block. And from just below the windowsill, there's gonna be a band that runs all the way around where all the masonry is at. And then below that is gonna be a rough block like this, but it's gonna be a dark gray. And I apologize, I don't have the sample of that. I didn't get that in time to bring it to show you. But that's what the exterior of the building is gonna be. On top of that masonry, on the office space, there is a triangular shaped roof. It's a mansard type roof. That is gonna be a green metal. And I know it doesn't show up on your drawing as being green, but that's what it's gonna be. And that would be this color right here. Okay? The main building, the main garage, is a pre-engineered metal building. And they use different colors for their standards as what they select. And the 2 colors that we have selected for the building, from the 4-foot level down to the grade, is gonna be this green. Okay? It's very similar to the green that's gonna be on the roof. They're not exact because different manufacturers, again, have different colors as their standard. Then the majority of the wall is gonna be this gray color. So that's gonna be from 4 foot all the way up to the roof. Trims around the roof edge are gonna be the green, and so on. All of the windows that are in the building are gonna be just a brushed aluminum, your natural aluminum color. So that's gonna frame all of the windows, all of the louvers that go through the wall, any caps, you know, for the heaters and things like that are gonna be this color here.
When we get inside the building, all of the walls are masonry on the main level, and we're gonna have a couple of different paint colors. Inside the shop area, from a height of just above the door heads, we're gonna be a white to get more reflectance of the light, so it will make the space seem lighter. The pre-engineered metal building is gonna have a white membrane on the roof, so that's gonna reflect light down. But then below that, from 7'4" or door head height down to the floor, we're gonna go with a little darker color so that it won't show the dirt and grease and things like that on the wall. When we get inside the office space, we have this color as the primary color on all of the walls, floor to ceiling. And again, on the maintenance building, we have overhead doors. These are pretty good sized doors. They're gonna be a white. It has a texture to it to kind of keep the dirt from appearing on it, but that's their standard. Overhead door company has, everybody has a standard white. This is that standard white for the overhead doors. We have walk-through doors, or man doors as we call them. They're gonna be a fiberglass, and that is gonna be this dark gray. All the doors and frames will have this color to them. All of the floors in the shop area and the parking area are just gonna be sealed concrete, so it's gonna be a gray concrete. Inside the office space, we're actually gonna polish the floor. So it gives it more of a shine to it, and you'll be able to see the aggregate in the concrete, and it's not an added cost of covering up your floor. We will have this gray vinyl base all along the walls, so the transition from floor to wall is covered up. There's always a gap right at the base of the wall, and that's gonna cover it up. We do have a few marker boards, or tack boards, I should say, and we do have a color selected for that, which is gray, which is gonna accent, with the wall color and so on. There's one area that we do have plastic laminate cabinets, and these are the two colors for the plastic laminate. This, I believe, is the base cabinet, and this would be the top that goes on that. So those are pretty much the colors that we have selected. And there's another handout that I think you got as well that shows all of the colors that have been selected to this point. And as the contractor gives me the actual product that they bid and are using on the job, they will again send me a color selection, and a lot of them that you say TBD, to be determined. We will be making those selections at that point and adding them to our color palette. Yes?
John, I have a question in regard to the drawing, two questions. I have one, what is this white rod, or whatever you want to call it, that runs from in front of the office there?
That is a guardrail.
Runs all the way up to the top?
No, I'm sorry.
Flagpole.
On the front, that is a flagpole.
Oh, that's a flagpole. It
Yes.
just look like it. It's not part of the building, is it?
No.
Oh.
No, it sets out away from the building, and that will be brushed aluminum, natural colored aluminum.
Yes.
And again, the flag didn't get colored the way that it should be, but that is gonna be, a flag flying
Looking
there
at
as
this
well.
pole, it's like, in the other question. Where the office on the left side of the joint, where the office, I assume, stops, it seems like the shade, I don't know what color that is, the shade comes all the way down below the window. But is that brick gonna be painted, or is this just a error?
It is a darker colored block. It is actually made with a dye block, and it's gonna be a dark gray.
Oh, okay. Okay,
So you'll have that's probably 3.5 feet of dark gray,
yes.
a band of like limestone. It's gonna look like limestone, it's not limestone, but it looks like it. And then, above that, you're gonna have this split-faced white block.
Can I ask you another question?
Sure.
Please, because it's coming. Is this the first design that you got of this kind that you guys have ever erected?
No, it is not. We have completed several road commission buildings all across the state. And we have done this, not this color scheme, but
Yes.
similar color schemes on a lot of those buildings.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, John. If I may speak for the entire board, we thank you for coming up here and giving the presentation. Through the chairperson, John is the representative for Hobbs and Black for the architects. He's been several meetings with us. He's going to take the lead for the rest of the project. Excellent go-between between the architects and Brevard themselves. I would say that if you're curious, you could probably attend one of these meetings at any point. They're twice a month at this point, and you're more than welcome to come and see what happens during those meetings. But thank you again. He's done a great job. And thank Kendra. Kendra has taken the lead for a lot of the color scheme and the picking out. She's the go-between for everything. She's the go-to person.
Yes.
Absolutely. And she works very well with Randy and Eric, and have done a great job. Thank you.
I do have a question.
Yes.
You know, during your presentation, you mentioned that we can expect.
Additional costs.
Yes. You knew where I was going with.
Every project it runs into items where the costs run up. Unfortunately, some of these are time and material issues, and as such, the costs do run up.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever worked on a project the cost didn't go up? I have never. I said, I haven't. It has to be mighty, mighty small, and even it may go up $20 or $30.
Well, I actually have worked on projects where the costs have not incurred. It all depends on what you build into the contract to begin with.
Oh, you came from that angle. Yeah.
Well, the business that I was in and the company that I worked for didn't believe in extras. What they believed in is you have an upfront price and you stick to those prices unless there was a massive change. And so we didn't have very many change orders per se.
Yeah. You did all the upfront work.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, Reg.
Us having this, this mild winter, pretty much, has that helped us in any regard, or has it, I mean?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Let's take snow removal for an example. There's only one item on here that spoke of snow removal in the 2 months of winter that we've been in already. And that's a time and material issue, you know, that's a billable issue at that point. So when you don't have those costs, plus being such a mild winter, you're not dealing with the blankets getting frosted over and then the removal of those blankets to do any work. Because that's what they have to do. They have to protect the footings and those walls from freezing for a certain amount of time. It helps with the project itself because it's a stronger project to begin with. The concrete can cure better. You know, concrete generates its own heat.
Yes.
And you have to keep that heat in for a certain amount of time in order for it to cure correctly. And with this mild winter, that's done nothing but help it. You know, it cuts down on the time that you can actually build on top of it, you know, because it cures quicker.
Is there a cover they use? I think the director mentioned over on Saginaw Road, they used a cover to put over the concrete.
A blanket.
A blanket?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they do use them. If you went out to the job site, you'll see several red and black blankets that are kind of laying haphazardly in the rows or been pulled out, you know, so that they can do the work. But they have an obligation to return those blankets over top of the footings. And this is where the snow comes into effect. When you have all that snow that falls on top of those blankets, you got to clean that all off. That's not very easy. Can't use really a shovel to do it because you pierce the blanket itself and destroy it. So there's work involved with it. But they seem to have done a good job. They're on top of it.
Okay.